Brands from the Far East are putting more and more pressure on the competition. Kia is expanding its model range downward with the new, compact EV2. We check out what it has to offer against its bigger siblings and rivals. And Geely, China's second-largest car manufacturer, is now looking to establish itself in Europe. We take a closer look at the E5. SUVs have been hugely popular for years. And the smaller ones are catching up fast. With its smallest electric model yet, Kia is entering Europe's second-largest vehicle segment.
From the EV3 upwards, Kia's numbering system is already pretty well filled, but now it's finally going the other way too. The EV2 is Kia's smallest electric model. Even so, it's supposed to bring along all the qualities of its bigger siblings, and that's what we want to check out today. And since good things come in twos, we'll be taking a look at another vehicle later on. Kia says it's one of its most important global models, and it's the brand's second best-selling vehicle worldwide, so stay tuned.
We're driving the little electric runabout through Germany's Rheingau region. Like the EV3, the EV2 belongs to the BSUV segment. But at 4.06 meters long, it sits at the smaller end of the class.
It's definitely got enough power for its size and weight. That really fits the car well. And I think I say this about almost every electric Kia. The eco and normal driving modes are actually tuned really well. They're not slow, economy-only modes. You still get plenty of power, so it's genuinely fun to drive in everyday situations. You don't necessarily need sport mode. Of course, we can still give sport mode a try. And yes, you can definitely have some fun with it. It really comes alive through the corners.
Our test car produces 146 horsepower and comes with a 42 kilowatt-hour battery. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour takes just under 9 seconds. Range is a little over 300 kilometers. There's also a version with a larger 61 kilowatt-hour battery, extending the range to around 450 kilometers. Starting price, €26,600.
The interior is very typical Kia. We've got the familiar panoramic display that you'll also find in the larger electric models. There's the digital instrument cluster, the large infotainment screen, and the small climate control display in the middle. Down here, you still get physical controls for the temperature, ventilation, and other functions. It also comes with the latest generation of Kia's infotainment system. However, this is a more affordable light version. For example, there's no built-in navigation system. Instead, you'll need to connect your smartphone wirelessly if you want navigation. Android Auto and Apple CarPlay come as standard. If you want built-in navigation, you can add it as an option on higher trim levels. Kia has also put a lot of effort into sound insulation. In an electric car, you notice background noise much more than in a combustion engine vehicle because there's no engine sound masking it. That's why the EV2 features specially developed low-noise tires, acoustic glass, extra body insulation, and even specially designed carpets.
Visually, the EV2 follows Kia's opposites united design philosophy, just like its bigger siblings. The vertical styling elements, for example, are inspired by Kia's larger electric models. The lighting signature with its vertical daytime running lights also follows the brand's familiar star map design, inspired by constellations. Every model interprets it a little differently, though. broad rear end with its small taillights positioned low down takes a little getting used to. Overall, though, it looks well proportioned and rather cute.
Despite its compact dimensions, Kia promises plenty of space and versatility, normally found in larger vehicle classes. Let's see if that's really the case. Well, as you can see, there's loads of space. The front seat is adjusted to my position. I'm 1.70 meters tall, but even so, it's really impressive. Kia claims 96 centimeters of legroom, which is actually 1 centimeter more than in the EV3, making it best in class. And what about headroom? Well, I've got more than a fist's width left, so that's absolutely fine too. There are also different seating configurations. Right now, we're in the 4-seat version, but there's also a 5-seater available. And the rear bench can be adjusted, giving you even more room when you need it.
Cargo capacity in the 4-seat version ranges from 403 to 1,201 litres. The 5-seat version offers slightly less, with 362 to 1,160 litres. There's also a 15-litre frunk, currently unique among its direct competitors. Let's take a quick look at those competitors. The Jeep Avenger is only 2 centimeters longer, but it starts at a hefty €12,000 more than the Kia. It produces 156 horsepower, just slightly more than the EV2. Its range of around 400 kilometers is roughly 100 kilometers more than the entry-level EV2. But even the Kia, with the larger battery and a similar range, is still around €5,000 cheaper. Cargo space is on a very similar level. Volkswagen is planning 4 electric models for the small and compact car segments. In terms of size, the Kia would be comparable to the upcoming ID Polo, although as an SUV it's probably closer to the ID Cross. It is around 10 centimeters longer and will be available soon at around €28,000. Power outputs will range from 116 to 211 horsepower, with 2 battery sizes offering approximately 300 to 400 kilometers of range. Cargo capacity with all seats occupied is expected to be slightly better than the Kia's, and knowing Volkswagen's pricing strategy, a similarly equipped model will most likely end up costing a few €1,000s more than the EV2. Fiat offers the 4.18-meter long 600 electric. Like the Jeep, it produces 156 horsepower and delivers around 400 kilometers of range. Cargo space is comparable, but the price is around €5,000 higher. When it comes to value for money, the EV2 is looking very competitive.
Let's take another quick look inside. The whole cabin is designed to feel open and airy, a relaxing retreat in the middle of the city. Kia even calls it the picnic basket concept. The idea is to create the same relaxed and peaceful atmosphere you'd experience during a picnic. I think it works. Everything feels warm and inviting with the fabric trim here, which even continues into the doors and across the center console.
Standard equipment includes the large panoramic display, automatic climate control, parking sensors, and a rear-view camera. There's also a long list of driver assistance systems and features usually found in larger vehicle classes, including a remote park assist function.
Like Kia's larger electric models, the EV2 also offers vehicle-to-load. That means you can use the battery to power larger electrical devices, like a coffee machine. It also supports bidirectional charging, so the vehicle can even feed electricity back into the power grid if the right infrastructure is available.
Inside a hall in Frankfurt, we now get a first look at another new model, the Kia Seltos, a 4.43-meter-long compact SUV.
You can immediately tell from the design that this is part of the Kia family. We've got the signature tiger nose grille, the familiar star map lighting signature that's meant to resemble constellations, and these vertically shaped front lights, similar to the EV2. Overall, the Seltos is designed to look rugged and ready for adventure, for example, through these lower body elements. The rear actually reminds me more of the EV5, especially with this full-width light bar.
The GT line trim has a sportier appearance with several body-colored design elements. There's also a more off-road-oriented X-line version available.
Even though its design is inspired by Kia's electric models, this one is powered by a combustion engine.
The Seltos will initially be available with a 180-horsepower, 1.6-liter turbo gasoline engine with either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Later on, 2 hybrid versions will follow, available with or without all-wheel drive, producing 154 or 178 horsepower.
The Seltos is also the first vehicle within the entire Hyundai Motor Group to offer a vehicle-to-load function in a combustion engine vehicle. That means the hybrid can use its battery to power electrical appliances, such as a coffee machine or a toaster.
The Seltos is positioned between the larger Sportage and the slightly smaller Exceed. It was first introduced back in 2019 in markets such as India, South Korea, China, and North America. However, the first generation looked very different. Since the transition to electric mobility hasn't progressed quite as quickly as expected, Kia has now decided to introduce the model in Europe as well.
The second generation is now arriving in Europe, and of course, it's been thoroughly modernized, not just on the outside, but inside as well. For example, it now features Kia's panoramic display, just like the brand's other models. The gear selector has moved to the steering column instead of the center console, as it was in the previous generation. There's ambient lighting throughout the cabin. Even inside the center console, the steering wheel comes with 4 spokes, or a 3-spoke design in higher trims. Overall, the interior is designed to create a bright and spacious feeling. There's another interesting feature. At the push of a button, the seat can recline into a relaxing lounge position, perfect for a quick power nap. That's especially useful during charging stops in an electric car, but why shouldn't you enjoy it in a combustion engine vehicle as well?
The luggage compartment offers between 536 and 1,511 liters, making it one of the best in its segment.
The Seltos is one of Kia's most successful models, and with its launch in additional markets, the company wants to meet a wide variety of mobility needs around the world. Customers should be able to choose the vehicle and the powertrain that best suits their individual needs.
Let's now return to the EV2. There's one important topic we haven't covered yet: charging. Like Kia's other electric models, the EV2 is built on the EGMP platform and uses a 400-volt electrical architecture. Only the EV6 and EV9 offer 800-volt ultra-fast charging. Maximum charging power is 118 kilowatts. Charging from 10 to 80% takes 29 minutes with the smaller battery and 30 minutes with the larger one.
The EV2 is designed to make the transition to electric mobility easier for customers. Despite its compact dimensions, it offers generous interior space, plenty of flexibility, and many of the features found in its larger siblings, resulting in an impressive value-for-money package. Kia even believes it's versatile enough to serve as a family's primary car rather than being used simply as a second vehicle like many small EVs. That's why we're very curious to see how the sales figures develop.
Geely is coming to Europe. The major Chinese automotive group, best known for acquiring brands like Volvo and Lotus, and as a shareholder in Smart, is looking to establish itself across many European markets. Leading the charge is the E5. At 4.61 meters long, this mid-size electric SUV is targeting rivals like the Volkswagen ID.4 and at a very competitive price. Here's our Motorvision quick test of the Chinese newcomer.
Geely E5 or EX5 or Galaxy E5 or Galaxy EX5. This car has quite a few different names, depending on which market you're in. Today we're going to take a closer look at it. Let's start with the design. When I first look at the car, I'd say it's a fairly understated design, maybe even a little boring. You can definitely spot influences from other vehicles. I see a bit of Volkswagen Tiguan in there, a little smart #1 up front. Around the back, I also see hints of a Porsche Cayenne or Porsche Macan. But while the design might seem a little plain at first glance, what's underneath is actually much more interesting. I'm talking about the technology, the equipment, and especially the price. But I'll save that for a little later. Let's start with the basics. Power comes from a 218 horsepower electric motor driving the front wheels. There are two battery options, 60 kilowatt hours giving a range of around 430 kilometers. The larger 68 kilowatt hour battery delivers 450 to 475 kilometers, depending on the trim level. It's about to get a little noisy because we've got another plane flying overhead. We're right next to Frankfurt Airport. You can probably even see it in the background right now, so, well, there's really no avoiding it. Now let's talk about the equipment, because that's actually a very pleasant surprise. The option structure is refreshingly straightforward. There are just 3 trim levels. And honestly, I'd say the entry-level version already includes pretty much everything you actually need. Inside, you already get, well, not seat massage just yet, but you do get heated and ventilated seats. The large 15-inch display, you can even see it from outside, is standard, complete with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. It also rides on 18-inch wheels. The second trim mainly gets you the larger battery, and then the third trim adds all the luxury features you'd expect. Seat massage, the large panoramic roof, bigger wheels, and everything else that goes with it. Now let's get to the price. The entry-level model, which already includes pretty much everything you'd actually want, starts at €38,000. For an electric vehicle with a 60 kilowatt-hour battery and around 430 kilometers of range, that's genuinely impressive. And looking around the interior, we'll hop back in and take it for a drive in a moment. Everything looks pretty solid. Let's check out the rear seats, because the next surprise is just how much space this thing offers. At well over 1.9 meters tall, I can comfortably sit behind my own driving position. That's seriously impressive. But those are just the basics. The real question is, how does it drive? European customers tend to be pretty demanding when it comes to handling and driving dynamics. So let's head out and find out. First of all, credit where it's due. Geely has done a really good job with the chassis. This feels exactly how you'd expect a European family SUV to drive. The handling is nicely composed. You get a good sense of the road beneath you, but at the same time, it remains very comfortable overall. Exactly how an everyday car should feel. When it comes to interior quality and craftsmanship, as well as the suspension setup, Geely clearly benefits from the experience of its sister brands within the group. I'd say Volvo has definitely contributed to the build quality, while Lotus has probably had a bit of influence on the chassis tuning. Looking around inside, it all feels really well put together. This definitely isn't just another run-of-the-mill interior, although it does remind me a little bit of Tesla, especially when I'm scrolling through the menus and using the interface. Things like the panoramic roof are controlled through the touchscreen. There are very few physical buttons in here. Some people will love that because it gives the cabin a really clean look. Others will probably miss having a few buttons for direct access. Overall, though, I'm genuinely impressed with the interior. Of course, there are still plenty of people who might be a little skeptical. It's a new brand entering the European market, and it's coming from China. So naturally, some people are still wondering whether it's something they can really trust. Maybe I can reassure them a little. For starters, Geely has been building cars since the 1990s. Volvo has been part of the group since 2010. So they already know how the European market works. They understand the regulations, the bureaucracy, and everything that comes with selling cars over here. They're also building up a dealer network right now. Many dealerships are currently being approached to sell Geely vehicles. And I wouldn't be surprised if quite a few Volvo dealers joined as well, since they're already familiar with the group.
Natürlich auch wahrscheinlich ein paar Volvo-Händler mit dabei, die schon mal Kontakt in den Konzern haben.
Another important point is the warranty. Geely offers an 8-year manufacturer's warranty. Hardly anyone does that. In fact, it even beats the traditional warranty champions like Kia, Hyundai, and Mazda. 8 years and up to 200,000 kilometers. That's a mileage most first owners probably won't even reach themselves. So I think that's a pretty strong statement of confidence from the brand towards its customers. What else have we got? I haven't mentioned charging yet. The smaller battery charges at up to 120 kilowatts. The larger one reaches 135 kilowatts. Those aren't class-leading figures. Some competitors charge faster, and a range of around 450 kilometers isn't exactly groundbreaking either. But it's exactly what most people actually need, and it's more than enough for everyday use.
Auch die Reichweite von 450 um den Dreh ist nicht der Wahnsinn, aber es ist genau das, was es braucht, was ausreicht.
Pricing, on the other hand, is extremely hard to beat. The range starts at 38,000 euros. A fully equipped model comes in at just over 40,000 euros. Now compare that to something like a Volkswagen ID.4, which is very similar in size. You're looking at something closer to 55,000 euros there. So choosing the Geely saves you well over 10,000 euros, and you still get a genuinely good car. When it comes to brand image, that's obviously a different story. And yes, design-wise, I still think it looks a bit like someone asked an AI to design a completely generic SUV. But if you're okay with that, the Geely is a really compelling package. From a purely rational buying perspective, I'd actually say the Geely comes out ahead. If status or brand recognition is more important to you, you'll probably end up choosing the Volkswagen or another established brand. But honestly, I don't have much to criticize about the Geely E5.
Geely E5, wenig zu meckern.
Over the next few years, Geely plans to introduce around 15 models to the European market. Leading the way is the E5, alongside the Starray EMI plug-in hybrid, which Motorvision has also tested. And that model has a few surprises of its own.